Greetings comic lovers and welcome back to Casually Comics, the channel where we chat all things comics, from reviews of comics new and old, to history, to anecdotes, to really wherever our whims take us. Vampirella time, I've fallen down a hole. I just need to tell you all about Vampi, and today we're going back to the beginning. So we're going to take a look at the origin that started it all, and also some fun Vampirella movie connections. Be a cheesy time. But before we get started, I'm Sasha, and if you're enjoying this content, you know what to do. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Join us in this comic book journey. Vampirella debuted in Vampirella #1 in 1969 and was created by Forrest Ackerman, Trina Robbins, Frank Frazetta, and Tom Sutton. Vampirella was a horror anthology style series that featured tales with Vampirella, but also utilized her as the narrator, or rather host of the book, for the first few issues. So she would open up and conclude the entire affair and the individual stories, at least at the start. The focus of the magazine was on horror and attractive females, and it made no efforts to shy away from that. But it was also a bit tongue-in-cheek and would poke fun at itself on occasion. You can read that in lots of the letters, which they published at the beginning of many issues. Vampirella's iconic and for some controversial costume was designed by Trina Robbins, who modeled her off of horror hosts of the time. However, she also feels that over time there has been an emphasis on sexualizing Vampirella, which was not part of her original design. She stated, "There's a difference between sexy and hyper-sexy. The way I have drawn Vampirella, she's definitely sexy. I designed the costume, but her costume through the years has gotten briefer and briefer. She has been hypersexualized, but not by me. I mean, I see drawings in which she's got the Brokeback pose. I would never do that." Vampirella has definitely changed over the years. Her first appearance and story are succinct to the point of being simplistic. Illustrated tales to bewitch and bedevil you. Vampirella. Look out, she's waiting inside. The first collector's edition. For you. The cover by Frank Frazetta is simple but very striking. Vampirella in her costume standing against a full moon, her foot resting atop a human skull, while her wings appear as shadows on the moon's surface. The interior instantly introduces you to the magazine, and you get to know Vampirella, or Vampi, as she says you, the reader, may call her. Basically, simp for Vampirella, please. It's all very personal, as if she's chatting with you, the reader, and the tone taken is very casual and amiable. It engenders a rapport with Vampirella beyond what will be established in the opening narrative. The intro page is also a strikingly minimalistic panel that allows Vampirella to hold most of the focus, again with her baddie silhouette. Vampirella's story is the first in this anthology. It's very short and very cheesecakey, opening on her having a shower under the guise of "we're supposed to notice something different about this. Note the bat-like birthmark. It is significant." There's a birthmark? I'm only half joking. It took me a minute to find the birthmark. I was like, oh yeah, there's a bat on that boob. Vampirella is showering in blood and drinking it as the comic has her vamp pose and explains her origin. Vampirella of Draculon. Draculon is literally a planet of blood. Thus, on Draculon, a race has developed that depends solely on blood for sustenance. Evolution has taken strange ways on Draculon. The people have wings and can transform and become invisible. Why? Blood water. As a terrible drought besets Draculon, a mysterious ship lands on their surface. A crashed ship with the name of the Arthur Clarke, like Arthur C. Clarke, the sci-fi author. Nice nod. Vampirella goes to investigate and changes form so that the reader can get a sample of some of her powers, and so that they can draw her transforming. However, Vampirella is too weak after days without food to maintain her form, and so reverts back to normal and attacks one of the astronauts. H2O water flows in their veins. On Draculon, the formula for water is hemoglobin, doubled with oxygen. Smorgasblood. These puns, they hurt so good. You won't have died in vain. Next issue, Beware Earth, Vampirella is coming. The rest of the issue consists of other horror-ish tales with Vampirella introducing and concluding them. There's a very campy B-movie vibe to this story, and just the whole issue in general. But when you learn more about her creator, Forrest or Forrest Ackerman in Vampirella's case, it makes a lot more sense. Forrest Ackerman was a mega nerd, a huge fan of science fiction, horror, and comics. He attended the first World Science Fiction Convention in 1939, where he wore his first what he called futuristic costume, basically a 1930s cosplay. He often went to writers' clubs and rubbed shoulders with many of note, such as Ray Bradbury, Robert A. Heinlein, Lee Brackett, and more. He started collecting sci-fi memorabilia to the point that he had a museum. It was known as the Son of Ackermansion, because before, when he lived in a house and it was all well there, that was the Ackerman. There is so much more, but we could be here all day. On top of all of this, he was a huge fan of sci-fi and B-movies. There was no cheese that he shied away from, or anything lowbrow. He loved it all. So the embracing of camp in this tale is hardly surprising. Vampirella would run under Warren Publishing for 112 issues, with the final one being in 1983, which was the year they declared bankruptcy, and their assets were auctioned off, and Vampirella was purchased by Harris Publications, who would release an issue numbered 113 in 1988, but it just contained reprinted material. They would later take the character in a new direction story-wise. Over time, the magazine would change, and it's fascinating to watch the evolution of things within as comics and sci-fi change over time. Basically just watching how all these horror tropes and other external forces affect the magazine. The style of adventure changes, the art style changes, and while there is always some highlighting and care taken with emphasizing Vampirella's appearance, the stories as well as her character become more fleshed out, though not as much as she will in later eras after she's taken over by Harris and beyond. Still, there's something there in how upfront Vampirella is about what it is, and the type of stories it wants to tell you, and how it wants to just have fun with that. Now, Vampirella for some has been quite polarizing and off-putting, and they feel that she is indicative of exploitation of females in comics and a sign of problems with the industry. There are discussions to be had around Vampirella, whether her appearance is empowering or exploitative, or whether it depends or varies. Whether focusing on it itself is something that needs to be examined. Not every female should be or needs to be Vampirella, but there should also be a place for the Vampirellas out there. But that doesn't mean that there can't be a discussion about her and how and why she's being presented. It can be fascinating if people are willing to listen to where people are coming from. Vampirella has been loved and reviled by people from all genders, sexualities, and walks of life, for those who are aware of her. She causes a reaction in most, let's put it that way. She has most certainly endured and even been adapted, with another at the time of this recording in the works. If it's the future or you are present and that's happened, tell me about it. At the time of this recording, the world has the 1996 movie version starring Talisa Soto as Vampirella, which we did a review on, so of course card and link. However, that movie had some nods to classic Vampirella outside of origin that I initially missed, and I would be remiss not to tell you about them because, well, they made me happy. When Vampirella first comes to Earth, she meets the most stereotypical nerd imaginable, walking down alley carrying his computer and getting mugged. The character is named Forrest Ackerman, a nod to her creator. He also was the first to dub her Vampirella.
Ella, the vampire girl. Vampirella.
This is meant to be the meta reason why she randomly kisses him, because she owes him her existence, but in the movie it comes out of nowhere. It is a nice nod to fans. Ackerman himself is also in the movie in an uncredited cameo, and Ackerman made tons of cameos. He made over 210 cameo appearances in movies, and this is one of them. He's one of the people in the crowd when Vlad is performing his super club banger, Bleed For Me. Ackerman was a mega nerd and huge fan and big proponent of fan culture, so it's nice that he was included, and given his love of cheese and B movies, it was most likely something he really enjoyed and got a kick out of. It's more respect than a lot of creators are granted. It doesn't make the movie better or good, but it does have that going for it. There are documentaries on Ackerman out there if you need to know more about this mega nerd. Side note, Ackerman seems to potentially have been one of the earliest cosplayers, at least in a con setting, if not the earliest. That to me is really cool. I'm a nerd. Also, Dynamite has collected these early Vampirella editions in a Vampirella archives thing if you're interested in that. Vampirella and her appeal and evolution are fascinating to me, but I want to hear your thoughts. Are you fans of Vampirella? If yes, why? If no, why not? How do you feel about the costume situation? And do you agree with her creator that there's a difference between sexy and hyper sexy? I mean, I do. There's a difference in just how you pose and the compositing of things that can really change the entire vibe of an image. Let's talk Vampi down below. While you're down there, please do all the YouTube things. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell notifications so that you never miss a vid. Thanks so much for taking some time out of your day spent discussing comics with me. I always appreciate it, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.